What is up? What is up? Good morning, good morning, good morning. Let's do this like this today so you guys can see me, but I don't look crazy with the door in the way. Yo, I hope that everybody's having a great Monday. It's Money Making Monday. Sorry, my head itches a little bit. Just a tad right there. Okay, I'm getting myself together. So I hope that everybody is showing up and showing out in style this Monday. Super excited to bring you tonight's video. First and foremost, definitely am going to apologize because I was out of integrity with you guys when it came to the stories style tells for Sunday. I'm still working on that. Handicap Visions, what's going on, sir? Thank you for joining me. Um, so that stories or the history of is a mother. That is a mother. I'm super excited about it, but I realize how much of a perfectionist I am, and why if I can't get something right, like I abandon it. So I was tempted to be like, I'm just not gonna do that anymore. But I've been thinking about like the history of for probably about a year. So I need to get that out. Um, but I didn't realize how much work it is. So it's going to take a little bit of time to get that out. It will be out today, even if, like I said, it's some trash for the first one. I do want to get it out, and I'm going to keep it probably to about 5 minutes. And the history of, since it was supposed to be out yesterday, was supposed to be on how Ralph Lauren actually influenced hip hop. Because I want to do a full breath on Ralph Lauren, but it's so dense. Like Ralph Lauren's like Prince. You know what I'm saying? You got to figure out dynamics to talk about when it comes to Ralph Lauren. So I wanted to start there because Complex actually did a great docu series on, or what have you, on um, on Ralph Lauren and Lowheads. So I kind of wanted to talk about how it influenced hip hop, so which was a little bit broader than just the lowhead culture, because the lowhead culture as subculture is actually really, really interesting. So make sure that you check that out. I'll leave that link in this bio, and I'm gonna start doing these bios a little bit more. Um, so yeah, so you'll get two videos today. Like I said, even if it is kind of short for the history of, just because, like I said, I'm just getting started, so I'm trying to still do research on how to work that. And then we're also going to be talking about the awards, and I'm going to be doing um, my Style Speaks Awards show. Excited about that. My first annual. So we're gonna be doing that. But today I did want to talk about giving yourself credit and giving yourself and awarding yourself in certain situations. Partly because I was watching I didn't watch. Let me rephrase. I didn't watch the award show, but I was watching somebody else who was talking about the award show, and they were talking about Jordan Peele with the movie Get Out. Now with Get Out, that was Jordan Peele's like first movie that he ever wrote. But of course, he had been writing for Key and Peele when they did that comedy show, and he'd also been doing some comedy writing when he was on Mad TV and some other shows, from what I understand. And so, because of that, he was a writer. He knew what he was doing. He was proficient in the space. He knew, what he wanted to say and how he wanted to say it. But he found himself like frustrated, I think, with writing a horror movie, because it is a little bit different. Even though he started to find correlations with the rest of his process. Now, because of that, he quit. Like they said, something like 12 or 13 times. But when he decided to finish, when he focused on finishing, he finished, and that put him into Oscar contention. And I believe he won last night. And so I wanted to talk about, number one, not giving yourself enough credit in all aspects of your style, but also in your life. When we are first getting started, even with me and this YouTube thing, I'm focused on doing this 7 days a week, 7 days. So I was talking to my homeboy, the big homie, the Style OG, and he was talking to me about him doing this 7 days a week, and I was like, all right, man. I know I said I was going to do it last year, but if you can do it, I can do it. And I'm actually doing it 14 days a week because you guys get me live. Well, 13 days because you guys get me live every day. Saturday you get Well, it's 12 because Saturday we do the live Q&A. So I'm actually doing doubling up on even what he's doing. And so because of that, sometimes I'll like when I missed that day, like I felt terrible yesterday, and it was just like you got to give yourself a little bit of credit. Don't get comfortable, but you got to give yourself a little bit of credit at the frequency and the focus that you are putting this stuff out. And so because of that, in the same space, when you're in your life and you're creating your style, a lot of times I'll be dealing with clients and they'll say, man, I just don't have the money, or I just don't have this, or I don't have all these different types of things. And they forget to give themselves credit for what they do have. They have a strong sense of self-awareness, or they may be they may have a strong sense of curiosity, and all those things you should give yourself credit for. If you are a guy who knows what he likes, give yourself credit for that. If you're a guy who understands certain elements of style while you're still learning other elements of style, give yourself credit for that. And the reason why you need to do that is because your mind needs to associate your progress with certain wins. So again, you know that I'm not just strictly the style guy. I also see how style actually impacts the rest of your life. So there is a practice. I don't remember the name, so I do apologize. But there's a practice now where people are saying if you want to, let's say, lose weight, the goal is not to say I'm gonna go to the gym 8 to 10 days a week, right? It's only 7, but like I'm gonna go to the gym every day and I'm gonna work out for 4 hours, right? Because what you do is you set that bar so high that it may not be attainable. And again, you got to know yourself. So instead, what they recommend saying is, I'm gonna go to the gym one day out of the week. I'm gonna work out for 30 minutes, because that way you position yourself to be successful. You position yourself to be in that space that will allow you to move forward, and will allow you to get wins. Even my coach used to tell me, like, hey, you need to get some wins under your belt, because it can be debilitating if you are trying to do something and there is no try. So if you're doing something and you're not seeing the response. If you know me, then you know that I believe that men, we are responders. So especially when it comes to like our style, when it comes to like life and the things that we're doing, most of us don't buy the new car because we really like it. We're buying it because we want a response. We're buying it because we want the dudes to be like, oh, damn, dude, that's a dope car. And for the ladies to be like, hey, I see you in that nice little car, right? So that's why a lot of dudes want convertibles, because they want the response of the ladies, hair in the wind when they're driving down the highway. Or they want the nice suit because they believe that the response will be a positive one on professional and social settings. They want the cool sneakers because of that response. And so even if you don't have access to those things, give yourself credit for having the awareness that that's something that's important to you. Because it's not necessarily a bad thing, but even in my book, Style Speaks 12, our 10 keys to sex, substance, and a signature style, that's one of the things that we talk about, is that men are going to dress for women first, then they dress for men from a competitive standpoint before they ultimately dress for themselves. So give yourself credit in understanding that that is okay, for where you're going to be. And then you got to give yourself credit for what you have in your wardrobe. One of my clients, he is down to about 12 pieces, and yesterday we had our meeting, and we still had disposed of some other things before we were going to start rebuilding his wardrobe. And I asked him how he felt about it, and he was just like, man, I thought like I cleaned out enough. He said I got to, when we cleaned out the rest of the stuff, I was like, wow. So now I'm down to like I think 2 pairs of pants. He was down to about 5 or 6 shirts. 1 jacket. He has a suit coming, and like six pairs of shoes. And he was like, and I didn't miss anything. So he gave himself credit on just being able to deal with a simplistic life. That's not necessarily me, just because I'm a little bit of a clothing person. But give yourself credit wherever you are, because in those spaces, what ends up happening is you start finding that, oh, I can do this. Oh, this benefits me. Oh, these are things that I'm starting to understand about myself. So whether you have a big wardrobe or a small wardrobe, you're still having wins, because you're learning about yourself within that minimal wardrobe, or you have a breadth of options that are going to be most beneficial to you in a larger wardrobe. And then lastly, when it comes to communication, give yourself credit, because there's so many people who don't know how to communicate, who they are, and then they don't care. Often say that we don't live in this bubble, and people will say like, man, I'm just real. I'm just, I can't help it. I'm just real. And I'm like, fam, there's a difference between you being real and then you being tactless, or you being a buffoon, or you being, rude and demeaning to other people. That's never going to fly, and that's never going to do you well. You can be very honest and authentic without being crass, right? And crass has its own place in certain spaces. But if that's all that you can contribute, then it's going to be a problem, because you are not allowing yourself to expand in any other situations. All you're doing is allowing yourself to deal in primal feelings, and that's never beneficial to anybody. So give yourself credit, even if you are a shy guy, if you are an extrovert, or a little bit more of an introvert, so not necessarily shy, but just a little bit more introverted. Give yourself credit on the awareness that you may have. And if you're an honest person, give yourself credit for that honesty. Just make sure you temper that and make sure that you're tactful in the process. So, excuse me, I'm about to get up out of here so I can knock out these two videos for you. Um, and yeah, outside of that, today's Monday. Be great. Um, Thank you, Handicap Visions, for rocking with me, staying with me. Thank you for the questions. Again, Saturday we had a great conversation. Briefly, sorry you guys had to see that get cut short while I was at work. Um, I may have to push that earlier. We may end up doing that at like 4:30 on Saturdays, so I can get to work early, and record that there for you. But outside of that, be great. Don't ever forget that dress is nothing more than the expression of a man's state of mind. So you, yes, you, should always dress to express. I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.